What's going on, babe?
Hey, babe, how was your day?
It was actually pretty productive. Happy to be home.
Good. You know, we got a game today. Honey, a little rough around the edges.
I'm saying, I've been working all night, taking care of business, getting to the... You know what? I don't even want to talk about it. I got you. I'm not trying to be out here looking like a dusty, and that's why I'm excited to have Teach Hanley as a sponsor of today's video. They help me start and maintain my skincare routine by making the entire process uncomplicated. Honestly, it's the best skincare system for guys like you and me. I recommend you start with their level 1 system, which come with all of the basics. A daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin, a 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun, and a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. My favorite part about Teach Hanley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. In addition to amazing skin, members of Teach Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price and the ability to customize your box. And because Teach Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal. Just click the first link in the description. You'll get 30% off your first box plus a free gift. Click the link and get started today. We taking care of ourselves. Self-care, fellas, is the first step to be able to get to that bag, to take care of business, and be on top of things and level up in every aspect of your life. Feel the Teach, my friends. What's going on? Is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels, giving y'all that throwback commercial of that Teach Hanley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. If you have not gotten your Teach pack, then I need you to do so. I appreciate you guys for tuning in for another edition on this Thursday, September 7th, 2023. Year of our Lord. We are in basically almost the fourth quarter. October, November, December. We almost into the fourth quarter, y'all. Almost into the fourth quarter, y'all. What y'all gonna do? I see Messy Mathematician finally decided to be on time today. I see my dog Kojak, one of the most reliable people in the building. Vanessa, Azriel, we going to Jupiter, Brandon, Rita, Keisha, all of my people in the streets is out here making it happen. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, friends and family? Hey, let me get a health check. Let me get a mental health check. I need to know what y'all feeling. I need to understand what the sentiment of my people are. I need to know what's happening. How are you feeling about the prospects going into, because we don't want to wait until we get all the way into 2024 before we start planning for it. How are you feeling about your prospects ending this year and then going into next year? When you start to look back on the things that you've accomplished this year and how you need to make adjustments based off of what it is that you want to do next year, what is the sentiment of the people going into the end of the year and then ultimately going into next year? I want to know the sentiment of the people. One word. I see fantastic, optimistic. Let me see what's that. Positive, determined, consistent, phenomenal, terrible. Not Mailman Thomas feeling terrible. Beyond blessed, progressive, blessed, positive, confident, consistency, do or die. I don't know what that means. Shout out to Sylv Lap. Outstanding, ready, driven, excited, amazing, excited, stressed. Not Messy Mathematician doing math, feeling stressed. Busy, progression, cautious, excited, double up, hungry, excited, prepared, growth, prosperity, redemption, abundance, rough, confident, strong, at the gym, planning. Sent me an email this morning. Shout out to Brian Hudson. I'm going to check that. Producing, optimistic, grinding and praying. Good morning, relentless, trying, overwhelmed, hopeful, angry, but happy, focused. What is angry but happy? What the heck is going on? Perseverance, apprehensive, enlightened, still growing, focused, apprehensive, leg pressing, motivated. Don't have enough money. Well, let's try to solve that. Let's try to solve for the don't have enough money. Shout out to optimistic, humbled, trying to trying to catch the show, excited. Shout out to all of my people. Hey, shout out to everybody that got fired this year. I know that's a wild take when we starting off the Millionaire Morning Show. Shout out to everybody that got fired this year. Real talk. I know that we don't like to talk about that aspect of life. We don't like to talk about it. Everybody got laid off. That's a lie. Everybody ain't get laid off. Some people just got straight up, boop, fired. Some people just got fired. Let's just keep it real. I remember when I got fired back right before the recession hit in 2008. I ain't get laid off. I ain't get no unemployment check. I ain't get none of that. My daughter was on the way, right? She was born in February 20th, 2008. Tell me about a time. What a time to be alive. I got fired. A lot of people wasn't here when I did that story, or I broke down exactly how it is that I lost my job before we went into a recession back then. I got fired from the plant. And not only did I get fired, Rita got fired, and then it was a residual effect, and everybody around me got fired. Shout out to everybody that got fired. Best thing that ever happened in my life. Best thing that ever happened in my life. And not because I was doing what I was supposed to or it wasn't my fault. It was the best thing that ever happened into my life because it forced me to start taking accountability and having a hard discussion with myself to force myself to get out of the victim Olympics, stop blaming everybody else for my problems, stop leaning on the union in order to get my job back. I just accepted it. I was at a point in my life at that time. I'm going to keep it real with you. I was at a point in my life at that time. Everybody kept telling me, oh, the union can get you your job back. You should fight for it. You should go and talk to your union rep, escalate the situation. I knew I was wrong. I knew that I was wrong. I was wrong as two left shoes. I was as wrong could possibly be. It don't matter. They shouldn't have did that to you because technically they wasn't supposed to do that because they didn't have the proof that they needed and they went outside of what it is that they did in order to try to get the information to use to fire you. Listen, at the end of the day, I can't go based off of how they technically did it. They didn't read you your Miranda rights when y'all over here getting arrested and stuff like that. I don't live my life like that. I live my life based off of what the truth is. And when I started looking in the mirror and I started being honest with myself, I had truly messed up. I'm not cursing on the Millionaire Morning Show no more. Those days is over. If I make a mistake and curse, I'm going to have to correct myself immediately. It was my fault. I was the person that got fired. I was the reason why we were laid off. Not laid off. I was the reason why we didn't have any income. Going into 2008, 2007, 2008, everybody got laid off. Everybody got messed up. It was the best thing that had ever happened to me in my life. One of the few things that had ever happened to me. But it didn't become a blessing until I then started taking accountability for what my circumstances were based off of the fact that I was the one that messed up. Now, what really made me feel bad wasn't the fact that I got fired. What made me feel bad was all of the residual effect of the people that was around me. Now, they was wrong too, but I didn't want to be responsible for them having to take accountability for their own situation. And that's the thing that started to make me feel bad. That's the thing that started to make me feel sad. That was the thing that really, really bothered me because I knew that it was other people that had lost a significant amount of income. And I'm not talking about no regular jobs. I'm talking about executives. I'm talking about people that had been getting bags, that had a long tenure at their different positions. And if you have not seen that video, go and look up Anton Daniels fired from his job on the Millionaire Morning Show channel. And I broke down exactly how it is that I lost my job. And I had broke that down like 2 or 3 years ago when I first started this channel, like 2 years ago when I first started this channel. But yeah, man, it was the best thing that ever happened to me, but it didn't become a blessing until I started taking ownership of what my situation was and how I had put myself in that position to even get let go in the first place. And I had to suffer for it. And I had to go through some stuff as a result of it. And I had to own that. And I had a daughter that was dependent on me. And I was in a hospital when she was born, and it just changed my life. It changed my perspective completely of what it was that I needed to do as a man, as the leader of my household, as the person that had other people depending on me for their well-being. Listen, you talking about a dude that had already had a covenant with his chick that said that, listen, when we have our daughter, you're no longer going to work. That's the end of the conversation until she become of age to where she's going to school full time. Then we gonna start. You can't make that type of promise to somebody and then fumble the bag. You can't make that type of that type of promise to somebody and y'all come to that agreement and then she got to go back to work after she had a kid. That wasn't an option. That wasn't an option. At some point, I had to grow up fast. Because just because you getting money, just because you 22, 23, 24, 25 years old, whatever it is that you are, just because you getting it, just because you old enough in order to be able to have sex, just because you got a job and you making over $100,000 a year, that don't make you a man. That don't make you a woman. Just because you can open up your legs and have somebody to be able to take advantage of it, that don't make you great. That don't make you awesome. That don't make you an adult. That don't make you grown. I had to grow up fast, quick, fast, and in a hurry. All of that spending, all of that fumbling. Yeah, I had some things that was going on. Yeah, I had a significant amount of money that was put up, but I was unwilling to use that money in order to help us survive, so I had to get it popping. I took way less money in order to do things that wasn't guaranteed. I took a sales job, and then I took a role, I believe it was at that time. I had started going into a call center, but then I was still running my own businesses. I had to grow up fast. I wound up enrolling in school full time. It was people that was telling me that I wasn't going to be great, I wasn't going to be successful, that I was always going to be fumbling, and I had that reality check with me and my brother. And so listen, you sitting there having this conversation with you based off of the fact that you don't think that you're good enough, and I'm telling you that you've been good enough. You just not living up to your expectations. You've been good enough to do the things that you actually dreamed of when you was a kid, but all of your dreams went to the wayside, and I'm going to be reading those super chats shortly. Shout out to y'all that's hitting me off. All of your dreams went to the wayside because you started subjecting yourself to peasantry. Not pleasantries, peasantry. Not pleasantries, peasantry. You started thinking that it was okay to be normal because everybody told you that you was out of touch with what everybody else was going through. You know how many times I hear that on a daily basis? People send me an email. Oh, I read a comment. I go and check it and I see what's going on. Right? Everybody tell me all the time that I'm out of touch. I'm not out of touch. I'm in purpose. I'm not out of touch. I'm in my purpose. That's the difference. You think that I'm out of touch. I'm not out of touch. I'm very much aware of what regular people go through. I was very much a regular person. And today, in certain aspects of life, I am still very much engulfed and in the mire with the very people that I love and I adore and all my workers and everybody else. I am a person that is in the mire with you. I get my hands dirty. I really, really start to participate in the things that we building. I'm not out of touch. I'm in purpose. It's a difference. I'm aware of what it's like to get raised in the hood. I know what it's like to be broke. I know what it's like to have to move back into your parents' basement. I know what it's like to have a child that's dependent on you when you ain't got enough money in order to even go and get diapers. I know what it's like to have to work 2 and 3 jobs and go to school and not sleep for 3 hours a day, only sleep for 3 hours a day. I know what it's like to have money and then open up a business and have people steal from you. I know what it's like to actually be needing other people, but you're too prideful to ask for help. And so as a result, you continue to lean on your own understanding only to have to go through the lesson and get to the spaces that you're supposed to be in. I know what it's like to have a woman that's dependent on you when you don't know where you're going to get your next meal from. You don't know where you're going to be able to feed her, but you're going to go and figure it out anyway. I know what it's like to have a little kid that's dependent on you when they calling you daddy and they don't know that you're about to get your cars repossessed. I know what it's like to be fired. I know what it's like to be living in a household with 8 other people when you only got 3 bedrooms. I'm not out of touch. I'm in purpose. It's a difference. And so when you start being in purpose, you start changing the dynamics of your life because you no longer are subjecting yourself to all of these things that you think is normal. Being a peasant should not be your norm. That's for somebody else. That's something that somebody else gonna have to embrace. That ain't you. Being a peasant is not your norm. That should not be for you. If you listen, I understand that we need people to go out here and do these regular ass jobs in order for us, and ass is not a curse word technically, so I'm gonna just go ahead and say that out loud. I know what it's like to be out here and need these people to do these regular jobs in order for us to be able to survive on a daily basis. I get it. We need the construction workers. We need the concrete pourers. We need the mailmen. Shout out to all of the people, all of the logistics people. I understand. I'm not tripping off of that. I appreciate you. I love you. I would never, ever, ever talk negatively on anybody that is going out and working every day, because I go out and I work every day, because you are the people that keep the economy humming. You are the people that keep the movement moving. You are the people that's doing the things that other people are unwilling to do in order to make sure that we have this life of luxury. But I'm trying to tell you that it is a certain demographic of us. And if you're watching the Millionaire Morning Show today, you have to understand that you are probably a part of that demographic. There is a certain demographic of us that is not supposed to be doing that for the rest of our lives. We are not supposed to be the ones that's in the mire for the rest of our lives. You are not supposed to be working 40, 50 years of your life, still doing the same thing that you was doing when you was 20, 25 years old, talking about, I don't have no additional options. Yes, you do. If you listening to me right now, it is not based off of happenstance. It is not based off of the thing that you feel. Your purpose is not defined by the job that you have. You are not then in your purpose just because somebody else laid this at your footstool and your parents told you that this is what you were supposed to be doing for the rest of your life. You're not supposed to be being safe. You're supposed to be absolutely, positively stepping out on a thing that you're supposed to be doing on a regular basis. If you're not living in your purpose, if you're not constantly pushing yourself, if you're not evolving, if your purpose is not being revealed to you by the fact that you're doing the work and you continuing to push yourself, if you're not uncomfortable, if you're not comfortable with being uncomfortable, then you are not in your purpose, and you need to get on the ball, because it is okay for whatever it is your circumstances now. But if you're still in the same position that you are a year from now, and we having this conversation again, if you the person that I'm still talking to, and I give you this whole conversation on September 12th, September 7th, 2024, me and you gonna have a problem. We're gonna have to get that furniture moving in there. We're going to have some tussling and some furniture moving in there, because I'm so tired of my people talking about they're under duress. I do not want to continue to pay your rent. I do not want to continue to pay for your funeral bills. I do not want you out here asking for a GoFundMe. I do not want you over here having a fish fry. That ain't you. If you die tomorrow and your people is under duress because you did not take care of your business as a result of when you was here, you are sinning. It is a sin to live in poverty. It is a sin to be living under the spaces and the things that you then, listen, stop asking for everything from God. Stop asking for talent. Stop asking for opportunity. Stop asking for money, because all you doing is sinning when you do not leverage that in order to continue to do the thing that you're supposed to do. Have you ever read the story in the Bible? Y'all keep talking about Jesus, Mary Magdalene. You keep talking about Paul, Moses, Aaron. You keep talking about David, Abraham, Isaac. You want to talk about how Lot's wife then turned around and all of this other type of stuff. Sodom and Gomorrah, homosexuality, everything in the Bible but the thing that you were supposed to be paying attention to. You want to talk about all of the disciples. You know every book of the Bible: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah. You know all of the New Testament: Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts of the Apostles, Epistles of the Romans. You read Revelations 10 times over. You keep talking about it's the end of the road, but you never read and got the context from the stories to better understand why it was a sin for you to be in the space that you're in right now. You never really paid attention to it. Do you know what happened with the talents? Huh? Did you read that story? Did you read the story where God punished the man that he had gave a little to and gave it over into the man that actually was doing more with what it is that he blessed them with? Because it is a sin for you not to live in your purpose and be the person that God has blessed you with, because that whole thing could have been given to somebody else that would have appreciated it. If you got the talent, if you got the nerve, if you got the money, if you got the opportunity, but you are still living in your mama's basement, or you playing video games every day because you're not utilizing your time the way that you're supposed to, you are sinning. I don't care what your pastor told you. I don't care if the preacher is over there pandering to you. I don't care if your mama over here telling you cute. It don't make no difference. If you think that you doing enough, but you're not meeting your expectations based off of the opportunity that's presented to you, you are in sin. I don't want to hear that shit. I'm sorry. Lord, forgive me. I'm sorry. I take that last part back. Grow up. Grow up. Somebody is depending on you. They can't get what they need because you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Meet the expectation. Exceed the expectation. Come on, man. Grow up. Every day you scared and you worried. Every Sunday you dread the fact that you got to get up on Monday in order to go to work and take care of business. Grow up. We too old to still be talking about this nonsense. Still be whining about the fact that you got to get up and go to work in the morning. Grow up. I want to hear that no more. Let me get to some of these super chats and then we're going to get it popping with the show. Shout out to my dog, Mike, that dude, in the building on Cash App. I got to get that animation in order to give my people the Cash App credit that they deserve. Shout out to my people on Cash App that's holding me down. I appreciate you. Also, let me give it a shout out to my dog, Bilderberg Boy in the building, says, I got laid off in 2009. Got laid off in 2009. I received the paperwork via FedEx about 8 a.m. in the morning. The same morning, someone stole the wheels off my E-Class and left it sitting on bricks. Good morning, AD. Tough times do not last. I appreciate you. Thank you, Bilderberg Boy, and thank you for continuing to pour into me. P. Shank is in the building, says, good morning, Anton. How's it possible both you and your wife get fired working at two different companies? Well, we wasn't working at two different companies. We were working for the same company. I had got Rita, or Rita had asked me, y'all should go back and read the story. Rita had asked me, could she come over and work with me because she always wanted to be up under me, so she decided to come into the plant. So we made sure that she got a cushy job. I pulled some strings or whatever. And so she got hired, and not only was I making $100,000 and some a year, Rita was making a bag too, right? But Rita didn't have to work the way that I worked because Rita was on the same shift as me, and then I made sure she was taken care of. So Rita was real cushy. She just had a little inspector job. She would walk through every other hour, come through, oh, everything is okay, you guys, cool. She still had to wear a hard hat, but she was in there too. So me and Rita was actually working at the same place. We both had worked in there because I had pulled some strings to get her in there, right? And so when I got let go, she got let go because she was tied to me and whatever it is that I was doing. And so it affected her too. So we both lost our positions and both lost our income. And so we had zero income outside of whatever it was that I was making in my business. It's crazy, right? Yeah. Ain't no YouTuber, ain't no content creator that's going to be more transparent than me. I show y'all the receipts. I give y'all the real. And I let you leapfrog off of my life in order to then continue to level up on your own. So shout out to P. Shank. Tanaya's Busy says, when do we get to read this story in a book? I just gave it to you. This is why we got the best morning show on earth. Shout out to y'all. Krishan Humphrey with the fireball just came through and dropped that in the collection plate. I appreciate you. Jay says, was recently let go, but decided to dive into cybersecurity and data analysis classes since they let me go. And thinking about starting study with me with YouTube. I don't know. Don't question it. Just go. Don't question it. Go. Your purpose is to be revealed to you through the work. Don't question it, Jay. Go. Don't even think about it. Just go. Just keep pushing. Keep pushing. You got it. I promise you, you got it. Shout out to Jay. I knew that this message was for somebody. Shin C is in the building. Shin C says, did Rita have to give you the Rocky 2 speech? No, I gave myself the Rocky 2 speech. I ain't need nobody to be able to stand up for me. I stood up for myself. Shayla's in the building. Shout out to my girl, Shayla. Says, definitely trying to get out of survival, 2 jobs, building my Roth IRA stocks, going into real estate school and thinking about med school. I need a minimum of $75K yearly, and you gonna get it too, because I know what your work ethic is. I know what you're talking about, baby girl. I know what your work ethic is. Shout out to my girl, Shayla. I appreciate you, baby. My dog, J Dubs, is in the building. Said, Anton, cooking. Shout out to J Dubs. I appreciate you. Mel Duke with the 2 balls said, pass the love, offering, preach. Shout out to Mel Duke. What I like to do is I like to acknowledge everybody that contributes onto the platform. I do not ask for it, but I like to acknowledge you no matter what it is that you give, because I know that without you, I don't exist on this platform, because you are the people that drive me to do the Millionaire Morning Show on a regular basis. So thank you to everybody Thank you to everybody that contributes. I'm going to continue to read super chats throughout the show. And if you need some level of encouragement, know that you got it here, and that's somebody that actually is passionate about pushing you in addition to the entertainment that we witness on a daily basis. Can we go ahead and get started with the show? I didn't know that I was going to say that, but I just felt it in my spirit, and so I go with it. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also, on top of that, make sure you get that Teach Hanley 30% off your first order plus a free gift. I love you. I appreciate you. Let's get into it. So, speaking of people that's about to get fired, speaking of people that's about to get fired, have y'all hit a like for the algorithm? Speaking of somebody that's about to get fired, apparently we need to get some cops up out of office. We need to get the cops up out of their cars. We need to get the cops off of the beat. Apparently these guys don't understand how to do their job correctly and that we got cameras everywhere. Apparently they're not familiar with it. Shout out to Anomaly Beleza. I appreciate you. Listen. Let's just go ahead and get into the show. Because apparently we gonna have to go ahead and hold some people accountable.
Como nos gustan los pies a nosotros. Mira, pisando están.
A Maryland police officer is caught kissing on the job and sliding in the back of his marked squad car with the same woman.
Hey, yo.
Not the cop taking the chick into the back seat, kissing her publicly, and then arresting her to take her in the back seat so that he can then do what it is that he want to do right there with the kids running around, having a good time, completely unaware of what's happening. Yeah, we're going to bring everybody to the front of the congregation. We're going to bring everybody into the front of the congregation. Not the cop sliding her into the back of the squad car that we using our tax dollars for. Not our tax dollars going to the cop kissing in public and then taking the chick into the back seat at the park with everybody around. Oh, yes, he did.
Hey, yo.
On Tuesday, the Prince George's County Police Department announced the video was under investigation after it began circulating on social media that morning. A statement from the PD reads in part, quote, "As soon as we became aware earlier today, we opened an investigation to determine the circumstances." The video begins showing a uniformed officer standing outside of a squad car hugging a woman. After that, she pulls him in for a kiss and they embrace.
You got to be some kind of stupid. You got to be some kind of stupid to be out here walking around in the park, parked across the street, where it's people that's clearly watching you and everybody got a camera phone, and you over there kissing on a chick and putting her in the back of your squad car in the daytime while on duty with all of these cameras. White man, black girl. Shout out to all of the white men out here getting that love from the black girls. I don't know if she out here, she just a side chick. I don't know if she a prostitute. I don't know if she a streetwalker. I don't know if she on a track. She out here with the Move Shake Something dress on that they was wearing back in 1992 at the Freaknik. And this dude is out here with his name on the back of his shirt and his badge number in the squad car that you guys are paying that good old tax money for in order to make sure that these dudes is over here taking care of their family and getting that good pension. Then he over here putting her in the back of the car and getting in the back with her. This is your tax dollars at work, ladies and gentlemen.
Mira, pisando están.
Look at
Seconds
this.
later, the video shows the pair walk from the front of the squad toward the rear passenger door, all as the officer rubs the woman's shoulder.
He know he about to get some.
Vaya. Para el carro, mira, para atrás la lleva, mira.
Got him a little shorty. They busting down the cops.
After that, the woman opens the car door and both get inside. The video is somewhat interrupted as an unrelated man approaches the camera lens.
Hey, yo.
Look at the little kids running around.
Quítate, maje, ¿verdad?
Quítate.
Hey, yo.
When the line of sight is clear once again, the squad car's door has been closed. For about 11 seconds until the end of the video, the pair remain in the squad's back seat. So far, the name of the officer in the video has not been publicly released.
You know the internet gonna do what the internet do and find out. Let's get a take from the guy that actually recorded the video and get it from a completely different news source. You know we like to source our information and get it from multiple different angles in order to better understand exactly what's going on. Shout out to Umar Johnson. I'm gonna be reading that super chat shortly.
There are questions tonight about a video that's gone viral here showing a Prince George's County police officer. The department confirms it has suspended this officer. The video appears to show him embracing a woman, then joining her.
She thick. She got them sandals on. Her feet probably hurting out here in these streets. I'm sure that this man had already had this woman multiple different times. And so he got a little bit comfortable.
In the back seat of his police cruiser. The video's gone viral and has more than 2 million views on TikTok alone.
The Prince George's County Police Department has suspended the officer as it continues investigating the circumstances. The News 4 I team and Telemundo 44 have been working together to get to the bottom of what's happening here. And in an interview you'll only see on 4, the man who took the original video
and on Anton from AntonDaniels.com, Millionaire Morning Show.
Explains what he saw and why he posted it.
Our investigative reporter Tracy Wilkins joins us now live in the studio with what he had to say and what we know about that officer in this video, Tracy.
Well, Jim, as you know, I've spent nearly a decade covering the Prince George's County Police Department, including wrongdoing that's resulted in charges for some of its officers. Turns out the officers...
Where's Prince County? Where's Prince County? Somebody tell me where Prince County is. Somebody tell me where Prince County is so we can better understand where this is happening at. Because we need to go ahead and bring the whole city to the front of the congregation.
Seen in this now viral video is an officer I've featured before in a separate case where he was accused of abusing his girlfriend's child, though those charges were ultimately dropped. He's back in the news again.
We were just trying to have a good time, go to play soccer.
Nelson Ochoa says he was in South Lawn Park in Oxon Hill on Labor Day enjoying a game of soccer with...
Tell me he wasn't getting some Labor Day nookie. Oh, snaps, Maryland. DMV. Shout out to Maryland. Shout out to my people in the chat that be holding me down. Y'all the greatest audience. I'm just going to tell y'all. This is not my show. This is our show. This is our show, ladies and gentlemen, because you guys know your stuff and you guys keep me in the loop of what's going on out here in these streets. You send me the stories. I just break them down for y'all. I'll make sure that we get some visibility on it. Thank you for the super chat. I'm going to be reading that shortly. Let's go ahead and get into it. Oh, my God. They getting Gawk 3000 in Prince County. They getting Gawk 3000 in Prince County on Labor Day. Okay, let's see what's happening.
Other families, when a Prince George's County police cruiser pulled up and parked. He doesn't know what made him start to record, but he did.
As soon as I started recording, a car pulled up and then a young lady came out.
He recorded the two appearing to embrace and kiss. And
oh, so she wasn't necessarily on the track. She drove over there to meet him. They picked that location. So they didn't go to the hotel room. They didn't go to the Mosey Wozy. They didn't go over there where somebody wasn't going to be available. They didn't go in a dark little alley. They didn't say, hold on, man, this is not going to go over well as Labor Day people is out here in the streets. They over in the park. They having a good time. They having picnics. They playing soccer. They said, listen, we going to go into this space that's not heavily wooded. We going to go over here, and we know that everybody got camera phones or whatever. It's the kids over there playing. They not going to trip. Ain't nobody paying attention to what the cops are saying. She pulled up in her car, got up out of that joint, and then jumped in the back of his squad car, and he still had his uniform on, and they thought that this was going to go over well. Jesus Christ.
Then get into the back of the officer's squad car.
We couldn't believe what we were seeing, and then what really made us go like, wow, like this is crazy is when, like I said, when the car started rocking a little bit to the left and right.
This dude had the car rocking left and right. Good grief. Good grief. This dude had the car rocking left and right. Good grief. Good grief. This dude was over in the park busting it down. Busting it down. In the squad car on the plastic seats. You know them seats in the back of the squad car, they're not the same as the seats that's in the front of the squad car. Ain't no leather, ain't no cloth. Them hard plastic seats.
That's when we were like, wow, this is crazy. In broad daylight with kids around. He was in the car for about 35 to 40 minutes.
Afterward, he says both quickly drove away in separate directions. Prince George's County Police released a statement on X, formerly known as Twitter, saying they were aware of the video and are investigating to determine the circumstances. They tell the I-Team they have identified the officer, though they have not released his name. Multiple police sources tell me.
Well, he went and got him a thick one. That's for sure. He went and got him a thick one. He went and got him chocolate. He went and got him a chocolate baddie. He went and got him a thick one. He said, listen, give me 35, 45, 35, 40 minutes. 35, 40 minutes. Oh, wait a minute, Justin. You said the mistress. All right, we're going to get to that super chat shortly. Because Justin says, let me read that one right now. Justin, I don't know how true this is, but Justin says that's his girlfriend. He pulled up to meet her and her kids at the park. His wife is cheating on him. The mistress put it all over Facebook. Hey, somebody send me that video because we're going to have to break that down tomorrow. We're going to have to break that down tomorrow. I don't care who it is. He should not have been busting down a chick during the time that he was supposed to be on patrol and in the park doing lewd acts that then put him at a disposition or put him in a position where he gotta lose his money, he gotta lose his pension, he gotta lose his paycheck. I don't care who it is and why is he out here dealing with these chicks for the streets. Nope. Justin, send it to me in my email so that I can break that down because this ain't right.
Francesco Marlette, seen here in this picture. We reported on him back in 2016 when he was accused of beating his then girlfriend's 3-year-old son. In 2019, the father of that child told me in an exclusive interview that he was trying to keep Marlette away from his son.
Oh, not the black guy. Not a step baby daddy saga also. Not a dog. He was out here disciplining your kids. Oh, this story get crazy. This is about to go down a rabbit hole. This is about to go into a whole nother direction, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the super chats. I'm going to be reading that shortly. This is about to go in a whole nother direction. Oh, it's getting ugly.
He would say, Daddy Francesco, which is his mom's boyfriend, hits me in my face and hits me in my stomach, and he's really mean.
According to the boy's medical records, the 3-year-old was spanked, resulting in a head injury. The Prince George's officers who responded that day ruled it an accident. A grand jury disagreed and charged Marlette. But after agreeing to anger management, Marlette never stood trial. The charges were dropped, his record expunged, and he was back on the force. His attorney declined to comment on the case at the time. A few years later, Marlette is making news again, now in this viral video.
I woke up this morning and had 2 million views already.
Ochoa says he hopes police will take a close look at what's going on in this video.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Listen, man. He must be really, really throwing it down on those chicks. He must really, really doing something is happening in the back of that police car. When you got a chick pulling up to the park to want to come and get it, he might be. Listen, if he get laid off, he might be starting an OF page. This might be the come up. I know he's stressed. This might be the come up for him. I know he's stressed. Listen, man, we got to get these people up out of the police force that's not actually suited for these positions. He might want to become an Instagram model now, start him an OF page and to be able to see why these black chicks is up here letting them beat on their kids. You know what I'm saying? Let these chicks help them to understand why he can discipline the kids. Oh, he can do whatever he wants to the kids. Something is wrong. He might got a new career. I don't know. All I know is apparently He do not need to be on the police force. Make sure y'all send me that video so we can have that conversation and we can break this down. You know what I'm saying? Let me read some of these super chats so we can get on with the show because we got a lot to cover. We got a lot to cover today. You know what I'm saying? Craig G says, peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism. Good morning. I'm glad you said that because I got an Umar Johnson video lined up for y'all today. We gonna get there. It's gonna be a great show. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Tap into the Patreon. The link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Shout out to my dog Craig G. I appreciate you. Yo, Mark Johnson is in the building. Mark Johnson says, I know the dude. He's a special head case, Anton, but that's his side piece. We got the main piece talking to the side piece. Still stupid though. And yeah, he loved the chocolate. Wife blasted him on Facebook. Love the show. Keep dropping the modern proverbs. Oh, my God. It look like we're going to have a very exciting show tomorrow. When you guys send me that video. Thank you to Mark Johnson. I appreciate you for supporting the platform. Also, let me give an acknowledgement to Alliance 757 says, while Black Lives Matter said defund the police, she said deep throat the police. Shout out to the side chicks that's actually holding them down. Black Beauty is in the building, says, well, that was an experience. Have y'all ever dated a police officer? I'm curious as to what y'all thoughts are about that. David Simpson Jr. says, finally approved for a cybersecurity apprenticeship. Shout out to Uncle Anton, my dog, Coach Greg Adams, an angry man keeping that fire in my belly. We appreciate you, David Simpson. Thank you for holding me down. John Doe is in the building. John Doe says, I've seen adult videos that started like that. Shout out to John Doe. I appreciate you, big dog. Justin said he gonna send me the video. I'm looking forward to that video, Justin. Justin said that's his girlfriend. He pulled up the meter and the kids at the park. His wife is cheating on him. The mistress pulled it all over Facebook. Why do these women, let me ask y'all a question. Why do y'all women just feel comfortable going on social media and out and everything and putting all of the information online when y'all start to get under fire? Y'all need to get some chicks that's gonna hold y'all down. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Maximus says she needed to get out of a ticket. She in the bind, Nate. She's in a bind, Nate. Marcy does it. Shout out to Marcy. I like that picture, Marcy. Marcy is in the building, says, it's probably his beat wife. I work for the sheriff's office and they have wives, girlfriends at homes and wives on their beat. Marcy, you're going to have to fill me in on that one. We got the juice. Marcus is in the building, says this OF channel named Bad Cops Bed Wenches. Oh, that's a good one. Hold on. I got one more over here. I got to make sure I get everybody in the building. My dog Craig G says, when you hear peace and Pan-Africanism, you know it's going to be some BS. Straight up. All right, so make sure y'all get the likes up again. If you have not got that Teach pack, the link is in the description. If you have not also tapped into the Patreon, that link is in the description as well as pinned to the chat also. Before we get over to Umar Johnson, we got to talk about Chicago. I don't know why Chicago can't get things in order. I'm not really sure what the heck is happening over there. Did they not pay attention to what was happening over there in New York as far as the migrant crisis? That New York is having problems? Really not understanding how it is that they need to manage their migrant crisis. Chicago said, we ain't even got the money. We ain't got the money to really support our police force. We ain't got the money to really fix these neighborhoods. We ain't got the money to really put more cops on the street in order to be able to eliminate the crime and keep things down and all of that other type of stuff. But they decided that they really wanted to embrace the migrant problems. And honestly, before we get into the video, I'm curious as to why we are having this discussion in the first place about Chicago when they got bigger things to worry about. They got much bigger things to worry about than what the heck is going on with the migrant crisis. Make sure y'all get the likes up, y'all. Let's get it popping.
This is Chicago's very own WGN Evening News at 4.
Now here at 4 o'clock, more migrants arrive in Chicago as concerns grow over lack of housing and overcrowded police stations. Sources telling WGN several migrants have now been involved in altercations with officers.
Look at all of them people out there. Look at the tents. Look at how Chicago is becoming tent city. That's not even really supposed to be a thing in these Midwestern cities. Becoming a tent city in Chicago is not supposed to be the move.
In there this afternoon. Good afternoon to you. I'm Lourdes Duarte.
And I'm Ben Bradley. Thanks for joining us. As many as 4 migrants are now facing criminal charges. They're accused of threatening, even hitting Chicago police officers in the last 2 days.
WGN's Julian Cruz is live at the Harold Washington Library, where he was trying to get answers from the mayor today. Did he have anything to say, Julian?
Well, Lourdes, he did not appear here at this event. According to a Chicago Public Library press release, he was scheduled to attend a community event here this afternoon. So far, at least, no sign of the mayor, who has yet...
Nothing like the mayor going into another community event.
...to speak out on the matter either to City Hall beat reporters or in a written statement. 12th District Chicago police officers about 6:20 this morning dealing with an increasingly tense situation, taking 2 alleged offenders into custody, police sources identifying the offenders as migrants. News Affairs calling the individuals in question offenders. The first individual allegedly taking property from the district, attempting to flee, we're told, while a second migrant allegedly battered a responding officer who sustained minor injuries, police say, transported to an area hospital in good condition.
The police need to feel secure in doing their jobs. They need to feel secure in the space that they're in.
Vice Mayor and 27th Ward Alderman Walter Burnett reacting to the alarming news, though he's not familiar with the details, he says. Others at City Hall expressing concern.
I think what we're seeing is a decrease in the conditions at the police districts. We're now at nearly 2,000 individuals across the 22 districts across the city of Chicago, and we are losing control.
2 other.
Wait. The migrants get to sleep at the police station? Am I missing something? So wait. Let me back this up really quickly.
We're now at nearly 2,000 individuals across the 22 districts across the city of Chicago, and we are losing control.
2 other.
Wait a minute. If that's the district, if these are the actual stations and the departments of police, are you telling me, y'all saying yeah in the chat? In the police station, yes, and the schools too. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Y'all not gonna finesse me here. Are y'all telling me that migrants are sleeping and then being accommodated by the city of Chicago to actually go in and get shelter in the police stations and in the schools? Whoa. No way. No how. Get out of here, Sky. Sky. Seriously? They had every police station sleep outside in the Cookati jet, but it looked like they sleeping in the inside too. I did not know that, Sharice. You saying this is old news. You telling me these cops ain't coming in stressed every day? Wow. Is this what we're using our tax dollars for? Wow, that's crazy.
Other violent or threatening incidents reported yesterday involving 12th District migrants, according to sources.
That's insane. Do you see this? Oh, man. No way. No freaking way that this is real in the United States of America in a major city such as Chicago. This is not happening. This is not real. No way we living in a matrix like this. This is not true. This cannot be real. The news has to be lying to us. Everybody in this chat has to be lying to me right now. No way. And they get $1,200 a month, Yakar? What? So why are y'all coming up here on Fridays when we have opening up the panel, and y'all trying to tell me and convince me that Chicago is awesome and safe,
and that everything is normal and is business as usual, and that what it is that we reporting on these platforms and the news is not accurate. Seriously? Wow.
Concern about what appears to be an untenable situation. The trouble starting 9:45 yesterday morning. Juan Marquez Viena, 20 years of age, arrested and charged, according to News Affairs. Viena now facing 1 misdemeanor count of criminal trespass to property and 1 misdemeanor count of assault. About 4 hours later, more tensions. Ana Rondon, 20 years of age, arrested.
Not Ana Rondon. Ana Rondon is in there causing a disturbance, and she getting paid for her disturbance too? And they beating up the police? All right, people of Chicago, I'm curious. People of Chicago, I need to know. I need to know, my Chicagoans, are you happy with how the city is being managed, considering that you guys have voted in a new mayor that apparently, on the outside, seems to be worse off than Lori Lightfoot? I need to know, my people in Chicago. I need to know what's going on out here in these streets. Not Ana Rondon is out here running a, oh God. How can you charge people with battery? And we don't even know who these people real names are. They could have came over here and made up any kind of name whatsoever.
In charge with 1 misdemeanor count of battery against a 12th district officer. We tried several times today to reach Mayor Brandon Johnson for comment. Aldermen we talked to anxious to hear a more detailed plan to address what many, including Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, has called a long-term crisis. Now, migrants at the 12th District talking to us off camera, and they say starting after Labor Day, they were woken up at 5 a.m. and they say that they were forced to leave the building with their belongings, standing out on the sidewalk for hours. And they say that when they went back into the building, that there was no discernible sign that there had been any sort of cleaning at all.
And we giving them cleaning, and we letting them sleep, and they able to use the bathrooms and all of that. Good grief. Unreal. This cannot be an American city. Meanwhile, in the same vein, while we're having a migrant crisis over there and they can sleep in all of the buildings, this is what happened last night in Chicago.
I'm Asal Razai, live in the newsroom as we follow a police investigation into 4 overnight robberies. At 10:30 last night near Lawndale and 54th Street, 2 armed men.
Everybody in the chat, y'all tell me, do y'all know where Lawndale and 54th Street is? If you from Chicago, if you in Chicago, if you hang around Chicago, if you visited Chicago enough, you went over there and you seen and you kicked it with your homies and you spent an extraordinary amount of time in Chicago. Are y'all familiar where 54th and Lawndale Street is, where they had overnight 4 robberies and apparently 39 different shootings in the city?
Robbing a victim as he was parking, getting out of his car. He was shot in the ankle and robbed of his wallet. We're told he's in good condition this morning. Then less than an hour later, 3 more robberies. One as a woman was closing down a restaurant near Lawrence and Lincoln. The other just blocks away as another victim was closing down a bar. No weapons seen in those instances, but a couple minutes later, police say 2 armed men robbed a liquor store near North and Campbell, demanding money from the clerk. So far, police not saying rather if any of the robberies are connected. So
this is insane. This is insane. Honestly, listen. Are y'all okay with this? I'm just curious. My people in Chicago, what up though? Shout out to Love C. She is definitely going to be called to the front of the congregation because you are from Chicago. These are the breaks. Shout out to Chicago. But I do have a heartwarming story that somebody sent to me inside of my email today of what's going over here in Detroit. Listen, they say that Chicago and Detroit is supposed to be sister brother cities. That's our long lost cousin over there. It's different over here than it is Chicago. I'm going to tell y'all honestly. And this is the honest truth. It's different over here in Detroit. Shout out to all of my dope Detroit people that's evolving. I'm going to be reading the super chat shortly. I see what's happening out here in these streets. I'm in the streets. I see the change. I see the evolution of the city. Let me give y'all a little bit of good news of what's happening over in Detroit.
Now to a multi-million-dollar donation from the Gilbert Family Foundation, promising to bring a new rehabilitation center and research institute to Detroit. Dan and Jennifer Gilbert announcing the $375 million gift to build 2 facilities aimed at helping people recover from strokes and finding a cure for a rare genetic condition. 7 Action News reporter Darren Cunningham shows us what the investment will mean for Detroiters in need of specialized care.
This green space across from Henry Ford Hospital.
Wow, look how beautiful.
It's one of the sites the Gilbert family.
Look how beautiful the city is becoming. Green space. Places where you bike. I spend a little bit of time on Belle Isle driving a 96 Impala all around the city. I said, man, this city is evolving. I am loving what it is that I'm seeing over here in Detroit. Shout out to my girl, Erica's Classy Climb. She going to be stopping through. She in the city. She going to be in the city, right? She coming through tomorrow night so we can go and kick it tomorrow afternoon and we going to have a conversation. We're going to do some recording. Shout out to Dan Gilbert doing some great things in the city.
Family Foundation has pledged to invest hundreds of millions of dollars to build what they say will be state-of-the-art facilities.
We are proud to announce that the Gilbert Family Foundation will be investing nearly $375 million.
This morning, Dan and Jennifer Gilbert announced 2 projects near and dear to their hearts. They're funding the building and operation of the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab, an inpatient rehabilitation center. They say it will have 72 beds at Detroit's Henry Ford Hospital. Back in 2019, when Dan Gilbert suffered a stroke, he says he sought care at the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab in Chicago and that it had a personal impact.
We also believe that every Detroiter should be able to access the best health care and benefit from the most promising medical research.
They are also building the Nick Gilbert Neurofibromatosis Research Institute on 3rd Street. It's a partnership with Henry Ford Health and Michigan State University in honor of their son Nick, who died in May after a lifelong battle with a rare disease.
Our family is not unique in having medical issues, and we are proud to be able to help others navigate those challenges.
Henry Ford Health CEO Bob Riney.
It means new professional jobs coming to our city. It means hope and new research, which means new cures.
And for Detroiters who need rehab services but have limited or no health insurance coverage, the Gilberts also announced they're establishing a $10 million endowment, a key component to the initiative, according to Detroit City Council President Mary Sheffield.
The opportunity in itself is always great. To have this facility here is great, but the access to that facility is even more important to Detroiters. And so to have this $10 million fund set aside to ensure that people who may not have health care coverage have access to rehabilitation services is critical.
The foundation says the donation will also mean expanded rehab services at Henry Ford Health's locations in Macomb and Wyandotte.
Shout out to Dan Gilbert. What I'm seeking to do, similar to what I did yesterday, is I also want to highlight the good that's happening when you guys send it to me, in the same way that I highlight the things that are egregious in our communities that we need to fix. Yesterday, I brought Detroit to the front of the congregation based off of what happened at a Coney Island overnight to a woman that tried to break up a fight in order to illustrate a point. But also, you guys sent me the same story, and so I had to throw this in here somewhere, somehow, in order to acknowledge the good and the things that are transforming. I went to a new French restaurant that just opened inside of the Book Tower that they recently refurbished in downtown Detroit, and that's absolutely awesome. I also love what it is that Dan Gilbert has done and spearheaded here in the city of Detroit, and how this city is largely evolving and changing. And it has not gone without its own problems, because in every city there's going to be problems and trouble. But at the same time, it seems as though it's way more good and it's way more that's changing and evolving since I've been here my entire life than what I've ever seen in my lifetime. And so I love what's happening. I love being right here in downtown Detroit where my office is, where I'm doing this show right now. I love what's happening in the city. So I'm going to need all of the people over in Chicago, everything that's happening in Oakland, everything that's happening in San Francisco, everything that's happening down in D.C., pay attention to what's happening over here in the city and how we've evolved and how we've changed. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're going to keep on running it up. Shout out to Dan Gilbert and everybody that's participating in the growth of the city. I love what's happening down here. So let me go ahead and read some of the super chats, and then we're going to move over into the next part of the show, because we got a lot to get through today, ladies and gentlemen. John Doe is in the building, says, great movie breakdown last night. If y'all did not watch the stream last night on the Anton Daniels channel, it is absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. Great movie breakdown last night. I've thought of doing YouTube channel reviewing black cinema and how it has socially programmed us. I think that would be a great idea. I think that you can absolutely, positively get the bag like that. Do it, John Doe, because if you don't do it, then you're going to see me pop up with a channel that's doing it before you. You know what I'm saying? Andre Bell is in the building. Shout out to Dre Bell, says, was in LE for 10 years, was single my first 3 years prior to marriage, young and shape with money. It was thrown so much that I couldn't knock them all down. Wow. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. Civlap is in the building, says the city are going to have to make plans for migrants this winter. Those Chicago winters ain't nothing to play with. Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to with. Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to with. Shout out to my dog, Persevere Data TV. Persevere Data TV says Chicago officials must not remember how the Latin Kings got started. My dog Brock is in the building, said this is crazy. This is like having homeless people laying down next to your cubicle and you got to step over them on your way to the printer. This is ridiculous, redonkulous. Who's the master? Time Dog is in the building, says while we're talking about the immigration problem, why is it that no one talks about the tension between blacks and Mexicans? What's the tension between blacks and Mexicans? Break that down for me. I'm not familiar with it. I don't know what's happening out here in the dusty, dusty streets. Shout out to Persevere Data TV, says Chicago was our cousin Ray Ray. Did Detroit just hold straight up past Chicago when it come to desirable places to hang out, live, rock out with, and do the thing in? I'm just asking a question. If we comparing Detroit to Chicago, shout out to my dog Aaron over there that left Chicago. Are we passing y'all? Did we lap y'all already? Beyond Me Girl is in the building, says limit. Oh, shout out to you. Just came through and dropped that and dropped the character in the chat. I appreciate you, love. Marriage, Politics, and Sports says, for the love of the game, I want to play you for your heart. If you don't know the reference, then you need to go back and watch that live stream from last night because it was lit, man. William Lucian says, good morning, Anton. A budget video got me on track to saving almost $1,500 to $2,000 a month. Man, when I wrote it down, it was like everything clicked. Thank you, my brother. What William Lucian is referring to is the budget video that I got inside of the Patreon, because we don't just drop exclusive interviews uncensored. We also drop all of this different information that allows for you to actually level up, use it in a practical way. You're not completely removed from the opportunities of how it is that I've utilized these different tools that I'm giving to you for literally nothing over in the Patreon in order for you to continue to level up. Shout out to William Lucian. It's now saving $1,500 to $2,000 a month. Let me ask you a question, William. Was that $15 investment into the Patreon worth it? I don't sell no courses. I ain't got nothing to give you. I don't know what it is that you want from me. Shout out to Sabrina, said that's the best video in the Patreon. I don't know. It's some good videos in the Patreon, Sabrina. I got a whole lot of stuff in there that people need to be tapped into. If you're not a part of the Patreon, link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. But you are severely missing out on the thing that's best for you. Also, shout out to my dog, Sportsaholic Gerard, says facts of Detroit and Chicago are family. Chicago is the redheaded stepchild. The only place I felt safe there was Michigan Avenue. P.S. Jordan is the GOAT. That can be debated, that last part. But I feel you. Shout out to my dog, Sportsaholic Gerard, in the building. I appreciate you. Let's move on into the next thing. So, I promised you guys. You guys voted 51% to 49%. And you said 51% wants me to continue to have conversations based off of relevant information of whatever it is that's going on in society that Dr. Umar Johnson has a take on. I have not seen the video. I am not familiar with his take. I don't know how many times he's going to say hit the Cash App or piece of Pan-Africanism. I have no clue whatsoever. What I do know for sure, one thing is for certain and two things is for sure, is that Dr. Umar Johnson is absolutely, positively one of the most entertaining people that I've ever seen on the internet today. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock, ladies and gentlemen.
I just heard that a sister got hit with a brick for denying the romantic advances of her brother. Is that true? Can somebody confirm this story? in the United States, my American Africans, did I hear that correctly? That a sister got hit with a brick by a brother? This is insane. No man worthy of the title man. No man worthy of the title man should ever put his hands on an African queen.
Let me ask y'all a question before we deep dive into this video. Because I had my own take, which obviously we clipped it up and we dropped it earlier this morning. Let me ask y'all a question before we start the deep dive into this video. Did she actually really raise $40,000 on a GoFundMe? I just need to know. Somebody told me it was $32,000. Somebody told me that it was $40,000. Did this woman, because I'm not familiar, I'm going to be reading the super chat shortly, did this woman actually raise 40 bands that people actually donated to because she dropped this story on social media? Because I'm trying to be objective. I have to make sure that I get the full perspective of what Dr. Umar Johnson is saying. But somebody's saying that she raised over 40 bands as a result of getting hit in the head with the brick. And it's growing, Sandy? Oh, come on, man. I can't believe y'all still getting finessed. Let's continue.
You have no business touching our sisters. Now, brothers, I've said this before. We're going to have to ski mask up and start protecting our women. We're going to have to ski mask up and start protecting our women. A brother put his hands on a sister, there should be an army of brothers to put him in his place. We have to. We have to. Every time a black woman is assaulted, black men as a brotherhood are dishonored.
I disagree. I disagree 100%. Isn't it funny that nobody had any outrage or GoFundMe donations when she slapped the piss out of that white man in the middle of the street and then she started twerking? Nobody tripped. Nobody tripped whatsoever when she decided to put her hands on another man. Isn't it funny about how she just literally excoriated and destroyed and talked negative about the very men that she then sought protection from? Isn't it ironic that she was outside looking for trouble? And y'all want us to go out here and crash out for y'all? For somebody that's for the streets, that's not even under our covering, that continues to put themselves in a line of fire, that's asking for it, and then they got what they was looking for, and now you want me to go out here and crash out? Man, don't you know that I just did a story yesterday on a woman that tried to get in between and break up a fight at a Coney Island between a man and a woman, and that man over there and went out there and shot the piss out of her? That's a real thing. That it was a good girl that had great parents, a father and a mother that cared for her, and they were out enjoying Labor Day weekend in Detroit. And then that woman tried to intervene between a confrontation between a man and a woman, and then she got her head knocked off, and she no longer is living, and she no longer with us over Labor Day weekend. And so you want us to go out here and crash out for somebody that's a crash dummy, and she's over here profiting and leveraging her story in order to continue to make money. Meanwhile, she's been doing some of the most nasty, negative things that we've seen from women that exhibits no level of femininity, and we supposed to go out here and crash out as a result of it? Stop it.
Every time a black woman is assaulted, black men as a brotherhood are dishonored. Our women are off limits for domestic abuse of any kind, violence of any kind, police violence, romantic violence, domestic violence, street violence. We need to send a message to the world. We need to send a message to the world that the abuse of black women is off limits. We need to do.
You know what's interesting, though? I still stand on the idea that I don't believe that anybody should be getting hands put on them in a general sense. My general sentiment, unrelated to her in general, is that everybody should be keeping their hands to themselves. Everybody should be keeping their hands to themselves. I know Nola Grillin, these likes is disrespectful, but they not gonna really want to do nothing until we play the Teach commercial. They getting all of this game for free. We got over 1,700 people in here and climbing, and these likes are absolutely abysmal and disrespectful. Don't worry about it. But I absolutely stand on the fact that I don't believe that anybody should be able to put their hands on anybody. However, equal rights warrant equal lefts. Equal rights deserve equal lefts. And if you continue to provoke and you continue to go out there and you continue to put yourself at a disadvantage and put your hands on other people, what do you think is going to eventually happen to you? If you slap enough people and you start to do things to enough people, what do you think is going to happen to you? Huh? So I'm supposed to be out here like the captain. You think I'm Batman. I'm supposed to be out here masking up and running up on dudes. What you think this is? I got a wife to go back home to. I got a family to go back home to. I got a mother on both sides that need me. I got brothers. I got young men that work for me. I got a 15-year-old daughter that I was going off on last night because I had to discipline her based off of her mouth, right? But she had a good attitude when she woke up today, and she went to school with a good attitude. I said, good job. That's good parenting. Listen, I'm not willing to crash out for nobody in 2023 that is not under my covering that I did not come with. I will call the police. I will let them do their job. But in no way, shape, or form am I ever going to be in a position to where I crash out for a chick just because of the color of her skin. You could forget it.
Do this. We need to do this. Because it's out of control. Our daughters are watching their mothers get beat by black men. That's not a good example. If we're concerned
let me
about
hear his
our
whole
daughters
sentiment.
Being drafted into the lesbian army, the feminist army, the transgender army.
Reading that super chat shortly.
If you're
Shout out to
concerned
Uncle Pop.
about that, we have to do something about violence against black women. I don't know where it happened. I don't know when it happened.
Nope.
I don't know who the sister was. I don't know who the brother is. But justice needs to be served.
How do you not know nothing, but then you advocating for justice based off of what it is that they telling you on social media? Is this pandering or is this actually making an informed decision? Because there's already been several women that have made Umar Johnson look bad. You got Carly Russell. He was over there caping for her, and he was ready to throw away the whole diaspora. Ain't that what y'all call yourselves? The whole Pan-Africanism movement. Throw away the whole diaspora to come at the behalf of Carly Russell. Yeah, y'all forgot about her already, right? Yep. When she started being held accountable, it was automatically the white man's fault. Then you had Suki Hana went and met with him, and he was caping for her, and he never held her accountable, but then she was right out there with Sexy Red right after that. Twerking, throwing it in a circle. Throwing it in a circle. Suki Hana was throwing it in a circle right after she left from Dr. Umar Johnson because it was an opportunity for her to pimp you. She used it for more visibility. You used it for more visibility in order to pander, in order to continue to get the donations up for the school, apparently. And everybody left and nobody held anybody accountable and it was all cool. Right? King Kong consciousness ain't got nothing on me. And now he's over here making an uninformed decision based off of what it is that he's hearing on social media, but he wouldn't even take the time out to watch the quick 1-minute clip for himself. It's not that hard. They got TikTok in all of these countries, and if you don't have it, you can go and get you a VPN, and then you can make sure that you can tap into it. Somebody get him a phone that works. Somebody go get this man an iPhone.
And not from the white power structure.
Oh, my God.
We have to stop looking for justice from the white power structure. We have to deliver our own justice. We have to deliver our own justice.
Now he advocating for y'all to go out here and crash out. Okay. Now he's advocating for y'all to go out here and crash out for women that ain't even doing the thing that in their own best interest. They opening their legs to them. They having children with them. They living with them. Man, I seen a story from a chick that I'm reviewing for a video that I'm dropping tomorrow morning. Shout out to Jake Fever. I'm going to read that super chat shortly. I seen a story from a video that I'm dropping tomorrow morning based off of a reaction from a woman that had a child by both the son and the step baby daddy and his stepfather. And they was over there fighting and crashing out for her. And we supposed to be over here making sure that we crash out for who? For you? You could forget about it.
We have to deliver our own justice.
I'm not about to go to jail for nobody.
That we are still looking for those secretaries in the states for the various initiatives that Team Pan-African is going to be embarking on. In fact, we can use them from queens around the diaspora as well. But we got to get organized. There are far more young people ready for revolution than ever before. Political revolution, economic revolution. It's time to organize. It's time to energize. And it's time to mobilize. I don't care if she was talking bad about black men. That's wrong. But the response should not be abuse. And I'm trying to understand how black men are so quick to put your hands on a sister for disrespecting you.
So that means that he is familiar with what's going on. So either it's a white lie or he's been updated in the chat or whatever, right? Because he don't care about your side of the story. He don't care about your side of the story. He don't care about what she said. He don't care about how it was that it went down. He don't care about whether or not she put her hands on somebody else. He don't care about her level of disrespect. He don't care that she can't keep her hands to herself and she slapped a man before. He don't care about it. The only thing he care about is continuing to pander to his audience. I think that Dr. Umar Johnson might be the final boss. I think that the good doctor might be the final boss, honestly. There is nothing more profitable to the community or to the community or to the leaders of the diaspora than continue to perpetuate this bad simp behavior, especially on the hands of or on the backs of the black power structure. There is no better hustle. Listen, there is no better hustle. I fervently believe this in my heart. If I ever wanted to really, really be able to level up and get to the bag and run my numbers up, all I got to do is say that I'm pro-black and then I'm out of there. I'm out of there. I'm going into the stratosphere. I am going to make an egregious amount of money because there's nothing better than pimping people that actually continue to believe that they are behind the 8 ball and they are victims of white systematic oppression. There is no more profitable hustle than that right there. I'm telling you. And then to get the women at the forefront of that movement too and pander to them and then put on a dashiki that was made by the white man. Man, I'm telling you, bro, there is no better hustle, no better way to be able to get to a bag than to pander to the black community on the shoulders of black power and systematic oppression from the man. No better opportunity to get to a bag. I'm telling y'all, if y'all want to start a YouTube channel, go Peace and Pan-Africanism, pander to the black community, stand up on it, make sure you get to the gym, tell them that you want to get these women and their cookies and you're going to take care of their sons. And then you're going to get a bag, man. That's the easiest way for you to be able to start a channel is to go and pander to the black community.
I'm trying to understand how black men are so quick to put your hands on a sister for disrespecting you. I'm trying to understand how black men are so quick to put your hands on a black woman for disrespecting you, but you don't do that to the police. You don't do that to the police. You didn't do that to George Zimmerman. You didn't do that to nobody who offends the black community, but because a black woman said something disrespectful on YouTube.
Shout out to Tori, and I'm going to read that super chat shortly.
Because the black woman said something disrespectful on YouTube, you believe you was justified to hit her with a brick? Why don't we keep the same energy with the police who shot Michael Brown? Where was that energy at? Midwest gangsters? Where was the energy at for the police who choked out Eric Gardner? New York gangsters? Where was the energy at for the police who separated Freddie Gray's spine from his skull? Maryland gangsters?
Man, if y'all listen to this man and y'all go out here and get a battery in y'all back and y'all go out here and crash out, that's on y'all. If y'all let this man put a battery in y'all back, because ain't nobody going to listen, let me tell you what the truth is. This play has been played before, and there's plenty of guys that do not have anybody to advocate for their story or to go and hear what it is that they have to say. You know why? Because they're in prison and they have no kind of visibility whatsoever. If y'all let this man convince y'all to go out here and crash out for these chicks that don't care nothing about you, you a fool. You're a fool. You are a fool of a fool, and you a fool's fool for letting this man put a battery in y'all back while he over here trying to advocate for the women to come and see him in the beach, and he traveling worldwide doing his little speaking engagements, and he keep on selling y'all this school and telling y'all to hit the Cash App. Cash App works or hit the PayPal or hit whatever it is. That works in every country. You are a fool if you let this man put a battery in your back to go out here and crash out thinking that it's going to be somebody to come to your rescue and save you. Ain't nobody come to save you. Nobody is coming to save you. Be very, very careful of somebody that put a battery in your back for something that they would not do themselves. Listen, the minute that I see you get arrested for going out here to somebody else's aid is the minute that I'll then start to take it into consideration. Let me say it again. I'm never advocating for somebody to do something that I wouldn't do myself. The minute that you do it first. See, the one thing about the leaders of yesteryear, because I know that he continues to compare himself to all of the leaders of yesteryear, and he say he's the most influential and the most booked and all of that. Cool. The one thing that you can talk about Malcolm X is that he actually lived it. He was in the mire for it. He was willing to die as a result of it. He knew that he was going to die, and then he still put his life on the line, even though he had children and a wife that was behind him. The one thing about Martin Luther King, the one thing about the Freedom Riders, the one thing about the people of yesteryear was that they was living it, which was one of the reasons why people were inspired by it. And then there had to be a whole agenda to unseat what it was that we saw as a civil rights movement, because it was a time where black people truly were being discriminated against, and that there was a system set up to keep them down, even though it wasn't keeping them down because they were still becoming successful as a result of it. But those people lived it. They died for it. They got arrested for it. They was actually going to jail. They was suffering at the hands of. They was not profiting and they was not making money, but they was just advocating for on the behalf of other people. The minute that I see you do it is the time that I then will be a part of it. But until I see that, is no way, and I'm telling you right now, do not, under any circumstances, put yourself in a position to then be having to be taken away from your family from somebody that will not go to your rescue, is not going to be being able to bail you out, and is not going to do it themselves. Do not do something that somebody else is not going to do first. If your leader is not a servant leader, meaning that they are in the mire with you at the forefront, if they are the type of leader that's going to order you on over into the battlefield while they sit up and drink wine and have your wife at the end of when you die, then that is a problem. That is the type of leadership that I see today. Not saying that that's as it refers to him, but I'm just saying in a general sense. The type of leadership that I see today, and this is why everything is so messed up, is they will sit in their castle that is built by the people, give nothing back to the people, also will sit you on the front line and then will go after your wife after you get killed, and hoping that you get killed will put you on the front line as a result of it. They not like the leaders that was in Gladiator, right? They like the king's son. They not like the real gladiator. Real gladiators is at the front lines and on the forefront of the movement. They on the battlefield with you. That's what leadership is. It's called servant leadership. They not sitting here behind enemy lines. They actually going out and they kicking it with you, and they putting themselves in the same position that that if they advocating for you to do it, apparently they got a record of showing themselves being successful with it. I don't know what kind of leadership this is today. I don't know what kind of leadership this is today. If you're not in the mire with me, if you can't show me that you're doing it, that's why I don't advocate for people to do anything that I haven't already lived. It's a real thing. JD said going after your wife after you get killed is crazy. No, that was a real thing. That was literally a real thing. Y'all need to go and look that up. Do y'all research. Let me go ahead and move on with the show because we got a lot more to cover. Let me read some of these super chats and then we're going to move on. P. Shank is in the building, says, I enjoyed the show last night, waiting to exhale. My take on it now is very different than the original. Yeah. I'm undoing what it is that you thought that you knew, and I'm going to relearn you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to relearn you today. Uncle Pop says, know who didn't get hit with a brick that day? The wives at home. That's a fact, though. Foster Scott is in the building, says, tell Umar to go and avenge her then. If dude on TikTok can hunt people down for talking trash, he can too. That's a fact, though. No, he going to be over there at the water park trying to make it rain. Jake Fever says she needed a son to shoot. Single moms is different. Shout out to Jake Fever. I appreciate you for holding me down. The Right Insight is in the building, says, so the community was okay with old boy hitting that white man with the chair, or that white woman with the chair, but mad at black men for an incident with no footage or police report to where we can substantiate, I'm going to add my own spin to the end of that, to where you can substantiate that something actually happened to that chick. Real Gospel Chops is in the building. Shout out to Real Gospel Chops. Says Umar using his influence to encourage brothers to crash out. That is dangerous. Shout out to the Real Gospel Chops. I appreciate you. Nola Grillin is in the building. Says last night was amazing. And Dr. Umar be wildin'. Shout out to everybody that be tuning into the Wednesday night live chats. I appreciate you. J Dub says, where was the diaspora when an officer, Arena Preston, was killed in Chicago by our own? Crickets. Appreciate you, Day Dubs. Shout out to you for holding me down. Bilderberg Boy says, Umar Johnson is as much of a doctor as Dr. Seuss. We can't take his credentials away from him. If he actually went to school and he got his doctorate, then he's a doctor. Torian Anthony, shout out to T. Anthony, says, good morning, Anton. Since UPS got their pay raise, do you see the rest of the industry following suit? USPS, FedEx, DHL, etc. Yes, I do. I believe, especially for these unionized places, they're going to use that as leverage to continue to advocate for the growth of wages across the board in order to say that this is the industry standard. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, what you see in the auto industry often at times, even with ununion or places that do not have a union, they often use the blueprint. The companies use the blueprint for the workers in order to keep them happy, to make sure that they don't unionize and have to deal with a union in the first place. So the wages is often comparable to what it is that they're making over at the UAW. So absolutely, I think that is the blueprint that then is being used in order to justify how much wages are going to increase going forward. And you also got to remember that over at UPS, that the wages are growing every single season. So it's not that they just automatically get that 150, 170. It's also based off the amount of hours that they work, what their tenure is, and then it accelerates over a period of, I believe, 5 years to where they ultimately can make up to between 150 and 170 hours or $150,000, $170,000 a year based off of working the additional 10 to 20 hours additional in overtime every single week. So, yeah, I think that it will be a reflection of that. And shout out to you. That was a great question. JG is in the building. Shout out to JG, says, address the Jay Morrison explanation of 13 milli. What did he say? I'm not familiar with it. What did Jay Moore say about William J. Moore Jr.? What did he say about the 13 milli? Y'all got to be able to give me the insight. I can't react to something that I'm not familiar with. Let me know what's happening out here in these streets. I'm curious. Thank you, my dog JG in the building. Brock is in the building, says, Dr. Umar better know as Darth Humanist and Derek Jackson, Darth Jaximus, in my Yoda voice. Powerful Sith Lords they are. Careful, you must be. Did I get y'all the... Oh, no.
Darth Humanist and Derek Jackson is Dark Jaximus. Powerful Sith Lords, they are. Careful, you must be.
Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me also read Craig G. Craig G says, so he's saying we didn't stand up when needed in the past, so we should crash out over a woman we don't know. Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar, you write the problem, ninjas, please. Shout out to Craig G in the building. I appreciate you, Craig G. Absolutely phenomenal. Don't laugh. Don't laugh at my Yoda voice. Don't laugh at my Yoda voice. I think that is pretty good, all right? Jean Wick is in the building, says Umar had a court case in Philly. He got in trouble for lying about his credentials. Shout out to Jean Wick. Shout out to Jean Wick in the building. Also, Cassandra Powell. Shout out to Cassandra Powell in the building. Do more movie breakdown shows. My husband and I enjoyed it. The Q show with Ms. Sanchez was a great show as usual. Well, good conversation starter. Shout out to my girl. Shout out to my girl, Cassandra. I will do that at your request because I see that the people liked it. I see that the people liked it. Shout out to you. Absolutely, positively awesome. All right, so let's continue, y'all. We got to get over to the money. One thing that I have to do. One thing that I have to do is we have to get over to the money. So we got a couple different things that we want to go over. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. We're going to try to get through it fairly fast, quickly. 15 minutes apiece. I want to be done with this within a 2-hour span of this live stream because I want to get y'all back to work so that y'all can do the things that y'all supposed to do. Rite Aid is allegedly filing for bankruptcy. Now, what you see at the bottom of the screen, you said, who is this handsome man? Who is this handsome man? Let me put back on my other hat. Because we got to talk about the money. We're not holding nobody accountable right now. Who is this handsome man? Y'all don't know who this person is? That is not a handsome man. That is not a handsome man. That is Elizabeth Burr. Elizabeth Burr is the CEO, Chief Executive Officer, the interim officer, but has been holding down the role for an extended period of time, who has extensive healthcare experience and retail industries and deep expertise in innovation, business strategy, and brand management. That is a woman. That is a woman. Shout out to my dog over there, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Is that who his name is? That is my dog, Elizabeth Burr. Elizabeth Burr is the CEO of Rite Aid, but Rite Aid is allegedly trending towards and looking to file for bankruptcy. All right? So make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's mine this out really quickly because we got to get to the money.
Rite Aid shares, they are in focus this morning. They're slipping as the company reportedly plans to file for bankruptcy as it faces several lawsuits over the chain's alleged role in the sale of opioids.
Looks like Rite Aid, much like other corporations that want to skirt financial liabilities following lawsuits, is looking to file for bankruptcy to possibly minimize their financial burdens after their alleged role in the opioid epidemic. Now, they are planning on filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy for the second time. And that filing would cover Rite Aid's more than $3.3 billion debt load and pending legal allegations that it oversupplied prescription painkillers. So
it's more to the story and more than meets the eye. There's more to the story, right? With regard to this whole Rite Aid bankruptcy debacle, impending bankruptcy, because they have not filed yet, but the shareholders are running amok, right? They have filed for bankruptcy before, but one of the reasons why they're looking to file for bankruptcy is in order to discharge the debt and also to get themselves out of the obligations that would come along with allegedly playing a role in the opioid crisis and overprescribing, because it was paying for profit, overprescribing opioids over into different people and patients and industries as a part of that bankruptcy filing. They're trying to dismiss that and get that from out of their hands. All right, let's continue.
The Wall Street Journal reported on this, writing that Rite Aid faces more than 1,000 federal lawsuits that were consolidated into a multi-district litigation in Ohio. The company also faces a significant number of similar cases pending in state courts that allege it contributed to the opioid epidemic, as well as a civil lawsuit by the Justice Department that alleges the company dispensed controlled substances in violation of the False Claims Act and Controlled Substances Act. But what's up with this connection between the bankruptcy and skirting financial responsibility and liabilities related to these lawsuits? Well, unsecured claims rank behind a company's collateralized debt in bankruptcy and share in the amounts left over after secured claims are paid in full. The terms offered to Rite Aid's opioid-related claimants in a potential Chapter 11 could change, meaning the amount of money that they need to pay to the plaintiffs should they lose these lawsuits could be different, meaning it could be minimized as a result.
So basically what they're saying is that we are a company that holds debt. We are also in a position to where we've basically become insolvent based off of litigation, expenses. We have a pharmacy, but it's not bringing in enough in order to be able to substantiate us operating above board when it comes to profitability for the shareholders and so on and so forth. And so what they're basically saying in layman's terms, in street terms, in C-student terms, is they're saying that our debts or the debt that would come as a result of these lawsuits, if we was to lose, would come behind the debt that is owed from the secured claims or the secured debt that comes along with all of the other monies that we owe to our vendors and whoever it is that we hold debt from. So the company itself would then minimize the amount of money, all right? Basically, the people that are suing them, the Justice Department or whatever, they wasting their time because they're not going to be able to make any money as a result of that falling behind. So unsecured claims is basically saying any lawsuit that's not secured by something that we're loaned money from in order to put up money to get is going to fall behind everything else that we owe all of our other creditors, and so you're not going to necessarily be able to get nothing from it. Bankruptcy is a tool for large companies often at times to then continue the operation of the company while minimizing the amount of money that they have to pay out to whoever it is that they may owe money to. Let me say that one more time. Bankruptcy is a tool. If they have debt, secured debt as a result, and then owing different people or different banks or different entities or different organizations that have loaned them money or they have debt in which they have to pay interest payments on, so on and so forth, any litigation comes behind that, which also makes the bankruptcy worth it in the eyes of the company. And then they would have to obviously reorganize and shut down stores or shut down the company itself. And then nobody gets paid a dime as a result of it. That's basically what they're saying, okay?
Could change, meaning the amount of money that they need to pay to the plaintiffs should they lose these lawsuits could be different, meaning it could be minimized as a result of this Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So Cenk, there's a lot of fancy wording in there. Break it down a little further for us.
Yeah, so Rite Aid's case is a little bit more complicated because at this point they actually are losing money. So when you're losing money and you really have run out, for example, they haven't, and they're still are capitalized enough to continue for sure. But there does come a point when you have a real bankruptcy and there's nothing you could do about it, okay? But what is happening, especially with these opioid lawsuits, is that a lot of the companies are doing the same thing and a lot of them are nowhere near losing money. They have tons of profit, but they're thinking of declaring bankruptcy anyway. Why? Why would you do that? Because in a bankruptcy, secured debts or obligations get paid first.
Yep.
So whatever money you have, if you borrowed money from a bank, for example, you got to pay that back first. Anything where
before you ever get over into a lawsuit, all right? So that's basically what it is, right? Rite Aid is in trouble. Rite Aid is completely insolvent in that they're going to run out of money before, you know, all of their obligations and their debt and so on and so forth. And then you throw those lawsuits on top of it, then the company is just absolutely going to go in the toilet. I don't know whether or not they're going to reorganize to the point to where they stay open. I can't see it. I'm not really sure that you can make a case for it. But if they do reorganize, then they're going to be a much smaller company I think that they need another different leadership. You can't have an interim CEO, such as the woman that is down at the bottom, Elizabeth Burr, continuing to run this company into the ground. And I think that the writing has been on the wall for Rite Aid, especially in competition with all of these other, the CVS's and the Walgreens and so on and so forth. The writing has been on the wall for a long time. But I'm going to switch over to something because I want to get into a couple different companies, right? And then I want to move into one thing. I want to go into Qualcomm because it's important for us to really understand the chip war, AI, who's the suppliers, and so on and so forth. But before we get over into that, I want to move over into Home Depot, right? Because Home Depot, at specific stores, they're taking a completely different strategy to combat homelessness and to combat thieves prior to, hold on. They're taking a completely different strategy in order to combat homelessness and thieves in order to make sure that they deter or get away from all of this other nonsense that's happening out here in California.
Day with some weather surprises and firsts, but we begin tonight in Oakland with a new...
Is it me or is this too low? I don't like the fact that this is so low. You know what? I'm going to forego this story, right? I'm going to forego this one. We're just going to move over into Qualcomm because I don't like it when it's too low. So we're going to move over into the other story. Let me move over into Qualcomm really quickly, and then I'm going to get y'all out of here for the day. So Qualcomm specifically is a chip company. They are competing with the likes of NVIDIA and other semiconductor chip companies in order to continue to raise profitability or build up profitability from the companies. But Qualcomm is also losing some key contracts from some large major corporations. Qualcomm also supplies some of the chips that you see in some of your favorite Samsung devices and so on and so forth. So where NVIDIA is largely becoming propped up and is becoming profitable because they are largely funneling or filling the void that they need in order to continue to build this ChatGPT and AI boom. Qualcomm is trying to take a similar approach, but they're also betting on autos. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get into this particular story so we can get down to the money because this is my favorite part of the show.
It's in airplane mode right now. It's just to show that it's running entirely on the device. It's just doing all the computation, and you can see it created a whole unique image.
Qualcomm's tech is inside nearly all our smartphones. It pioneered the ability to connect wirelessly in the 80s, all the way to the 5G modems of today, making licensing fees for every device that communicates using its patented core technologies. And now it's working on an entirely new way of using generative AI.
Have y'all ever heard of the Snapdragon chip? A lot of people that are not familiar with it, if you see and you look at any Samsung device, any device from a lot of these different manufacturers, even Google devices, the Google phones, I believe that they also have a lot of the chips, the Qualcomm chips and things like that inside of those devices in order for it to be snappy or whatever. If you look at MKHBD or whatever his name is or whatever, Marquise Brownlee, he talks about the different chips, and often at times he references the Snapdragon chip. That is the chip that is then provided by Qualcomm in order to provide or power those particular phones, okay? So when you're talking about investing in a company and you're trying to understand the chip wars and what's going on and who has contracts and so on and so forth, right? I want you to also take into consideration that Samsung makes chips, NVIDIA makes chips, ASML is the company that then provide the machines that you can then use inside of the manufacturing process in order to make these chips. China is in a chip war with the United States of America. They're largely behind. They're trying to conquer over in Taiwan. So all of these different things factor into the different companies that you're looking to invest in because there is an AI boom. There is an auto manufacturing process, and all of these different industries have to be supplied based off of these chips that's then being advanced and manufactured for your own use. When you talk about your cell phone, the computers that you use, the cameras that you have, the cars that you drive, the ordering process when you go inside of McDonald's, the tablets that these kids use inside of these schools, all of this stuff is literally being powered by artificial intelligence in the future, right? And then also you have to take into account how many chips are inside of these devices, including the cars that you then have to use in order to get to and from, especially now that we're moving over into electrification, all right? So I'm just giving you a little bit of a foundation of what it is that we're looking at right now.
Qualcomm is an inventor. They're an intellectual property company.
Qualcomm also long held the title of world's biggest fabless chip company by revenue. But with the hype of ChatGPT, NVIDIA's revenue has now soared past Qualcomm's.
So now the revenue is soaring past, which then changed the valuation of NVIDIA, specifically as it relates to the competition relative to Qualcomm, right? So that's something that we need to pay attention to.
It the new global leader in fabless chip design. And NVIDIA's stock shot through the roof too, making it a $1 trillion company.
The king has been overthrown.
For now, powerful GPUs like NVIDIA's are used to train large language models to generate text or images by tapping into a huge amount of data in the cloud. But at Qualcomm, CEO Cristiano Amon is making a big bet that one day, generative AI will be in high demand off the cloud too.
You're running massive amount of computation in the data center for every word that is generated. I think we have a very unique capability to run those models locally, and not only you improve performance, but you significantly improve cost.
And while its modems are currently inside every iPhone, that's also set to end as soon as next year.
Apple is about 20% of Qualcomm's revenue today, so it's a pretty sizable hit.
So now Qualcomm is focused on diversification. It has
Now, why would a company ever be focused on diversification? Because they already see the writing on the wall, right? When you see what was happening with IBM and Apple, the first sign of trouble, which was largely beneficial for Apple, but obviously for their suppliers, they had to start pivoting a little bit. The first sign of trouble was when Apple started to manufacture their own chips. Now, Apple still uses a combination of some of the chips that's then being supplied by the Qualcomms and so on and so forth. But that was the first sign of trouble. When you start seeing the M1 chip and the M2 chip, and they started being significantly more efficient, and it was better. And when I bought my MacBook Pro, this latest one, and I seen how fast it was, and the fan don't even turn on inside of this device, I was like, aha. I seen IBM suffering as a result of it. I seen them starting to try to pivot and squander around. I seen Qualcomm starting to squander around a little bit. And so I was paying attention to where different chip companies had staked their claim and how dependent they were on these individual companies such as Apple and Samsung in order to remain profitable.
A new partnership with cloud computing providers and just expanded its auto offerings into motorcycles and new in-vehicle generative AI capabilities.
We've taken all these technologies that we've built and then we apply it not just to mobile phones, but to VR headsets, to AR headsets, to computing, to automotive.
CNBC went to Qualcomm's headquarters in San Diego to see its latest tech firsthand and ask top executives and analysts what's next for the longtime wireless ruler as Apple. Qualcomm says licensing has become a smaller portion of revenue, while its semiconductor business is growing. And those chips get their start here, at a lab in San Diego where we got a behind-the-scenes look.
Before we've actually started any manufacturing, and we put it all together on one, what's called emulation platform. So it actually takes 3 of these. Each of these is massive, 100 pounds. So 300 pounds down to what's ultimately going to be a device that looks like this.
Like all fabless chip companies, Qualcomm then sends its carefully crafted designs off to be manufactured at multi-billion-dollar chip fabrication plants, also known as fabs or foundries, largely in Asia.
TSMC in Taiwan, it's Samsung in Korea.
Now, interestingly enough, they're trying to bring manufacturing here. Well, why are they starting to bring manufacturing here in the United States of America? It's similar to, and you see how we start to leapfrog and why it's important for you to be able to watch these shows every single day. You have to be tapped into the Millionaire Morning Show. You have to be tapped into the Patreon. That link is in the description. You have to be tapped in every day is because we start to leapfrog off of this information that I'm giving you on a daily basis as far as jobs being built here in America. And there's several reasons for that, but they're putting together these manufacturing plants, these auto manufacturing plants. They're putting together these semiconductor chip plants. And the reason that they're doing that is twofold. A, parity, right? So now when you see different things being manufactured over in Taiwan and it used to be manufactured over in different countries, that quality of life over in those countries has started to rise. And with the rising of the quality of life, the cost to manufacture those chips is starting to rise also when you're using regular human labor. Right. So they're still largely behind with how it is that they do things in a lot of these other countries, and that they're actually using a lot of workers in order to do stuff, which also factors into how much you're spending in labor. Now, the cost to be able to have those laborers are rising, whereas it used to be really, really cheap. Now with the advent and the growth of technology now starting to be AI powered, and we starting to have more robotics, you can bring more manufacturing here, which also brings better jobs to the United States of America, because now we don't need as many workers to do the same processes and still be able to keep things in-house and not have to worry about security, trade secrets, so on and so forth, and also the chip war that we have with other countries. The other side of that is it's hard to find people that actually want to work, because we have now gotten into a space where most people are lazy and they do not want to do manual jobs or even get educated to the point to where they can start to become a part of the process, whether you're a software engineer, whether you actually, able to get on the line and be able to, oversee a lot of the different things that's going on inside of these manufacturing processes. People don't have the education here in the United States of America to take over these jobs, and they don't have the wherewithal and the work ethic to continue to do so. But we still recognize that we have to have this manufacturing here in the United States for the reasons that I just previously stated. And so they're building a lot of plants, and they're starting to, and that was part of what it is that Biden was pushing with the CHIPS Act. A lot of y'all are not familiar with the CHIPS Act because y'all was only paying attention to the abortion rights in the Supreme Court as it relates to student loans. But Biden pushed through the CHIPS Act in order to give these companies incentives, and they gave them a lot of money, a lot of incentives, and a lot of tax breaks to then build these plants that are largely being built in the South, especially in Dallas and Austin, Texas, and in southern parts of the country, in order to start manufacturing chips here in the United States of America. So we're seeing the need for this, and they're also trying to diversify because they see headwinds, but then at the same time, they see opportunity, and they're still trying to play catch up with NVIDIA. All right? You rolling with me? Y'all got it? If you don't get it, then make sure you replay this. Let's continue.
And many others, we're always the number one or number two customers, all of those. Foundries given us scale.
But mounting tensions with China and between China and Taiwan have raised concerns about how much all major chip designers rely on chip makers in Asia. That's why Taiwan Semiconductor, Samsung, Intel, and others are now building huge advanced fabs in the US to reshore manufacturing with incentives from the $52 billion CHIPS Act, although some of those plans have already hit delays.
$52 billion CHIPS Act. Now, where do you think that money came from? It came from you. It came from you. And I have literally not watched this video yet, right? But I've been talking to you guys about this over the last year or so, as far as the CHIPS Act, what policies they're trying to push through, the different things that they have inside of the CHIPS Act in order to continue to, you know what I'm saying? This legislator over here is trying to get certain things put in. But in order for them to push that CHIPS Act, they first have to get you to vote them in there, and then the manufacturing companies or the chips companies are also going to legislate and lobby for them to continue to get this money because they want to be incentivized in order to build these plants. Yeah. Hold on. Let me continue to play this. Give me a second.
Will you make any Qualcomm chips at the new plants coming, the TSMC plant in Arizona, for
Absolutely.
instance?
We are ready, if I'm not mistaken, we're already committed to around close to half of the capacity is going to be for Qualcomm products. And we're the largest customer of Samsung current manufacturer facilities in Austin, Texas.
Once Qualcomm gets its chips back from the fab where they're manufactured, it tests them using mock-up devices to mimic the smartphones where they'll eventually end up.
To make sure that the final system is going to work exactly as we've intended, to write the final software that we then hand off to our customers.
When it comes to these core systems on a chip, SoCs, inside smartphones, Qualcomm really only has a couple competitors.
Have MediaTek, based out of Taiwan, a very strong competitor. We have Exynos team within the overall Samsung corporation. And then more broadly, we think of Apple as our competition.
Isn't it funny that Apple has now become competition because Apple decided to bring everything in-house and no longer be dependent on these chip companies in order for them to continue to manufacture and put together the products that they want to give out to the people at the quality that they're giving them out to. And remember y'all, and we're going to revisit this. Hear me out. We are going to revisit this. Apple is also, remember, they made an announcement earlier this year that they got the whole headset coming out, and Apple is going to be manufacturing this headset, and it's going to launch late or early 2024, allegedly. Early 2024 is when they said that they was going to release this headset. Remember that. We're going to revisit this, all right?
Apple has indeed made its own A series of processors for its iPhones and iPads since 2010. But inside every iPhone is also a Qualcomm modem.
And that's the part that connects to the cellular network, called a modem or a baseband. And it's what makes a mobile phone truly mobile. And those are very difficult to design. Today, there's really only 3 companies that make them in scale, and that's Qualcomm, MediaTek, and Tsinghua Unisoc in China.
When its 2-year legal battle with Qualcomm came to a close in 2019, Apple bought Intel's 5G modem business in a move to develop its own cellular modem.
Apple's made it very clear that they want to get rid of Qualcomm entirely and go to their own modem.
So Apple has already told you that they already manufacturing their own chips, and now they want to have their own modems. And so at some point, Qualcomm is going to have to pivot because that form of monetization is no longer going to be a part of what it is that they're reporting on a quarterly basis as far as over to their shareholders. And so Qualcomm has to pivot. They have to diversify outside of Apple in order to continue to satisfy their shareholders and the valuation of the company as far as justifying what it is worth, right? So this is why this is important, because even though we talk about all of the stuff that's fun to talk about, it all comes back down to the money. When you look at these devices, right, and you look at the iPhone 15s and all of this stuff that's about to come out, I know Apple got an upcoming event on September 15th, and that they're going to announce the iPhone 15, and everybody's speculating what changes is going to be made. Most of the time, the changes is all internal, so it's all based off of it, having a better camera, better chips, faster. We've largely gotten to the point to where we've matured as far as what these devices are going to look like, right? The Samsung devices, whatever, so on and so forth, and whatever happens at one point in the industry is going to start to trickle down into other industries and other manufacturers of these phones and so on and so forth. But they're looking to diversify so that they can now, and Apple is never, ever going to rest on its laurels. It's always going to be re-engineering how it is that they do business. They're no longer going to be dependent on Qualcomm in order for them to then get these modems. So remember that, all right?
Unclear if they can pull that off, when they will be able to do it. It's very different than everything else Apple Silicon has built.
We have a relationship with Apple for the iPhone that is launching in 23 as well, but we have no plans for that relationship in any direction in 24. We don't have visibility whether we're going to be in the iPhone in 24 or not.
They don't even know. Literally, the CEO himself is telling you that, listen, we're going to be in the iPhone in the iPhone 15 in 2023, 2024. We don't know what's going to happen 2024, 2025. So this is what I say from y'all all the time, and what I'm saying, when you need to invest in a company, you need to intimately understand not only where it is that they're going. Don't just look at it saying, well, this company give a nice dividend every single quarter. No, you got to look at what it is that valuation of that company is going to be, what their long-term strategy is, what the leadership is, what their relationship with their suppliers are, right? Whether or not it is a dividend company or whether it's a company that continues to reinvest in itself and inflate the stock price, what their competition is doing, what is the war over in China with the semiconductor chips is going like, what is Biden then awarding over these people, and are they hitting snags when it comes to building these semiconductor chip shortages? Who are they then dependent on? Is ASML delivering? It was a guy that defected over from ASML that's now being tracked over in China because he's trying to steal trade secrets. And so there's a lot of different moving parts that we have to take into account before you just invest in a company based off of ChatGPT or the AI boom. All right?
Qualcomm has been open with investors that its deal to supply Apple with chips for the iPhone won't last forever.
Apple is actually a smaller and smaller portion of our business. Really, over the decades, we've diversified very broadly. So even within smartphone, most of our revenue, most of what we do actually is not Apple, but really is working with our strong partners like Samsung and other handset vendors.
There is no doubt that people that are invested in Qualcomm would like to see the company continue to provide technology to Apple. Having said that, this was part of the reason the company became so aggressive in its diversification efforts, was to make sure that it never became overly beholden to any one company, including Apple, which we have seen from this come a very successful entree into automotive.
And Apple isn't the only one turning away from Qualcomm silicon. Chinese smartphone maker Huawei currently uses Qualcomm's 4G chips in all its high-end phones. But it'll soon switch to 5G, turning to China-made chips because of export controls on U.S. companies providing advanced tech to China. Meanwhile, smartphones as a whole are facing an industry-wide downturn. Shipments are on track to hit their lowest point in a decade.
And one of the reasons for that is that the market has matured. And so if you got a 14, people are starting to keep their phone longer. There's no need for you to continue to upgrade. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to diversify into other industries because they're facing headwinds in a lot of different spaces, as well as competition from other chip makers, all right?
A couple of really good years during the pandemic when everyone was buying new phones, upgrading. And now we've entered the downturn. And so cyclically, there's just less demand, right? And at some point that will turn around, that will improve.
In August, Qualcomm reported weaker than anticipated revenue for Q3, and it's planning another round of layoffs after letting go of 415 people in June. It employs around 51,000 people.
The macroeconomics, I think, is not unique to Qualcomm. A lot of companies has been right-sizing their business, and we're no different in the
right-sizing is corporate speak for getting rid of people that we don't feel like we need in order to continue to run up the numbers and satisfy our shareholders. That's what right-sizing means. It's funny, too, because last night, because my daughter is jumping on a plane today. Shout out to Leslie. Shout out to Rita. They flying over to California or whatever. And so they going over there to go and have fun and take care of some business and do whatever it is that they do. You know, enjoy mother-daughter time, and they get to go over there and do the taekwondo and competitions. So they're going to be doing their thing, right? And it's funny because my daughter came to me last night because you know that the kids just started school. And I'm going to read some of those super chats shortly. And she said, Dad, I need you to help me with my physics homework. Now, I know that most of you guys, and she's 15, so she's in the 10th grade. Now, I know that most parents will be looking like, what you talking about, Willis? Most parents will be looking like deer in headlights. And so at first I was like, all right, so let me go ahead and look at it, right? And so we were dealing with different physics problems, and I was able to figure out, you know, how to do them and so on and so forth. But I wanted to verify that I was right. And so what we started to do was we leveraged ChatGPT in order to break down exactly how it is that ChatGPT would teach it versus the way that I taught it, and we were able to compare and contrast. It was a beautiful sight. It was a beautiful sight. And so she was able to go through and compare how it is that ChatGPT leveraged the formula that was given to her from the book, or not even from the book, from the virtual book that they're using in a school, in order to actually have a comparison and a contrast to what it is that we were teaching her inside of the household. Also, on top of that, you know what I'm saying, I was able to forego having to get a tutor to make sure, because now we're able to leverage that information and leverage different groups, and then the teacher is there early in order to make sure that she actually, because she's in AP Physics, we're able to leverage that information and that technology. But then it begs the question to, hey, whereas you would usually hire a tutor before or something like that, right? What happens to those jobs? What happens to those positions? What happens to what, you know, we would usually lean on in order to continue to have our children then, you know, trained up and be prepared for whatever it is that they have to go into inside of their schools. It's dope. It's dope. This chick got AP Physics, AP Math. She got all of these AP classes. I told her, I said, yo, if you're not getting no college credit for this, I'm not really sure that it's even worth it for you to have to go through this, because then you're going to want to do taekwondo. Whole nother conversation, right? Whole nother conversation, because then the problem was, if somebody puts a hole and it goes 6 meters south, and then they put it 5.4 meters east, I forgot what it was. I forgot what the problem was, but we were able to basically leverage, but I don't want to just give her a formula. And that's the thing that ChatGPT then becomes useful for. I don't want to just say, oh, okay, well, this is the formula, and so this is how much you have to put it, you know, southeast in order to be able to get this particular amount or this distance, so on and so forth. I was able to actually leverage ChatGPT to better explain why we got there, so she'll know how to apply the formula instead of just using a formula for every single problem when it's context and nuance behind what it is that she's doing and implementing. You know what I'm saying? So it was a beautiful sight. It was a beautiful sight. Technology can be one of the greatest things ever, but it can also be the thing that upend your lifestyle if you don't really embrace it and adapt to the times. So Qualcomm is adapting to the times. I believe that they will be okay, but I think that they are still going to be facing headwinds over the next few years Me personally, I am not investing my money in Qualcomm. I am invested, and I have been invested for quite some time in NVIDIA, and I'm invested in ASML. So that's just for disclosure. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you what it is that I do. All right. So let me read a few of these super chats, and then I'm going to get y'all up out of here for the day. It's been a great show. Blaze Skywalker with the 20 ball says, so will China be allowed to take over Taiwan if we don't need their chips? That's one of the things that we're trying to figure out as far as whether or not China is going to invade Taiwan, because they need their chips and they need that technology, which the U.S. is not waiting, and they're not positioning themselves to have to still be dependent on Taiwan, so they don't get themselves inside of an unnecessary war. But they're also leveraging their financial prowess in order to then influence what's going on as far as over in Taiwan, because they don't want China to be able to have that leverage to be able to catch up. So it's crazy. It's crazy. Even this war and military, it plays a role in what it is that we're going to do from a profitability perspective, and why people have to lobby and continue to spend money on what it is that's happening in the government, and even on incentivizing who it is that they want to get elected. It's insane. It's all interconnected. Shout out to Blaze Skywalker. I appreciate you, big dog. Info says, keep your foot on the gas, AD. Thank you, Info, for holding me down. I appreciate you for the 5-ball. David Simpson Jr. says, it's interesting. These factories always go to the South/West. Food for thought. No, it's not. They don't want to be saddled with the laziness and the unions and all of this stuff and the red tape that comes along with creating a manufacturing facility, even though we already have facilities here in the North and over into the West and to the East. It's insane. Shout out to David Simpson for pointing that out, especially considering the whole union strike that's coming up. Jeremy H is in the building, says ChatGPT is old news. Bard by Google is the move. I don't know about that. I think you can use a combination of both. I think that Google also rushed that product out in order to be able to compete with ChatGPT, especially since Microsoft was one of the initial investors in the technology. But we'll see how that play out. AL says, I love physics and the math. She needs help. Holla at me. Shout out to my dog, AL. I appreciate you, Aaron. Thank you, my friend, for continuing to contribute into the platform. Listen, I love you. I appreciate you. Make sure you get that Teach Hanley. 30% off your first order plus a free gift. This is the greatest morning show on earth. What I try to do is break it down from a C student's perspective, because I am a C student and I love doing the morning show. We have the morning show tomorrow, where I'm going to allow for you guys to be able to cam up and ask any question or any discrepancy based off of what it is that you've seen this week. And make sure that you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Shout out to my people over there on Facebook. I need y'all to do me one more favor before we get up out of here, though. Just one more favor. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be successful by ourselves. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you to everybody that continue to hold me down for the greatest morning show on earth. Let's go get that 30 million. I'm rocking with y'all. Peace. Shout out to Brock with the last minute super chat. Says, Pastor, I must say you put on a phenomenal show. As always, you made me laugh at Umar, upset at Chicago, and informed by Qualcomm. Thank you. No, thank you, Brock, and thank you to everybody that continues to hold me down. I appreciate you.